Yeah, yeah. So basically, see, if you apply the proxy, what happens generally, your implementation URLs are not shown to your end users. As end users, they will only access the proxy. They will not access your implementation directly, right? So that way, basically, because your implementation URLs are not visible to them, they are accessing the proxy URL. That way, you are one layer of extra security is there. So either you apply your policies on proxy or API implementation. So first your API policy will be triggered, right? And after verification, if it is passed, then it will go to your implementation, right? So if in case of your proxy, what happen? If you apply the policy, your policy will be applied to proxy. First, once your request reach, it will verify with your API policy enforcement. If things are passed, your request will be forwarded or redirected to the your API implementation. So as an end user, they will not access your implementation. They will not have any visibility. What is the implementation URL? Okay, they will only access the proxy. You can have the multiple API implementation. Okay, and then all the implementation you can combine and you can deploy. You can write your own proxy. Okay, and based on the path you can redirect to those specific implementation. That also you can do. You can do, yeah. Basically you do either implementation level or the proxy level, right? So you don't do in the both, actually you don't do both at the same time. You do either API implementation level or the proxy level. But the best approach, for a security point of view, you apply your policy, use the proxy. But generally what we do to save the V code, we just use the API implementation and apply there. We say, why do again use 0.1 vcore for this? Let's use apply our policy directly in API implementation and utilize it. But if we talk about the extra layer of security, then definitely the best approach is you use the your policy in API proxy. Use the API proxy so that your implementation. Yeah. Hmm. Exactly. Still you are secured. Yeah. Yeah, still it is secured, but only the disadvantage is that in case of you are not using the proxy, it's visible to others. Like what is the actual implementation URL? So there are different ways of bypassing the proxies. Hackers, they have the different they use a different ways to bypass the proxy. Yeah, so always, yeah, what we recommend, at least your experience layer should be with the proxy, not system layer, process layer, not required proxy. Probably you can directly apply the policies there because that internally, invoked, right? But your experience layer generally you give to your outer world so that they can develop the experience based on that, right? So it's always suggested to use the API proxy for the experience layer. Mhm. No, no, still required actually. Still required. It's not necessary. Either a system layer or process layer. Everything you deploy in the cloud hub. I'm talking in the terms of cloud hub, right? So once things are in cloud, that means it can be accessed by anyone if they know the URL, right? So it's better always use the policy. It's not like that you are giving your experience API to somebody, so you will not apply policy in the process layer or the system layer. It's not the, it may not be the correct statement, because if I know, if you deploy your process API in the cloud hub, if I know the URL, I can access it, right? Because ultimately it's over the web. If you are deploying, if it is not, yeah, if it is not, if not exposed to the internet, then it will not be accessible. But still you need to do some kind of security mechanism so that it's protected. Like if you don't apply the authentication or anything, somebody in your organization only, who are in your organization, who have that authority, they can also do the mistake, right? It's not necessary that everyone will do from outside only, right? So they can also do the mistake. So always it's the good idea you protect your APIs with this security policy. If you are not using any strong things there, at least apply some kind of client credentials based authentication or the basic authentication, something you do there. Actually you cannot open, you cannot give the, the without any kind of naked API. You should not expose either it's a system API or the process API. Always you should have authentication, even though it's internal, it's not accessible to the cloud or anywhere. Only you have defined your firewall rule, so that only your process API or system API can be accessed by your experience layer, but still you should uh, use the authentication mechanism. Thanks. Mhm. Yeah, great. That is the good example. Probably you have added one more extra layer. Yeah. Internal APIs we should use the TLS connection. Probably generally, yeah, we should maintain that as well. Yeah. Even if you are using any kind of internal authentication server, that for that also you should use the HTTPS. Always good to use the HTTPS, right? When you talk about, there is nothing hard, because even though if you don't have the certificate, you can utilize the self-signed certificate, and you can do it if you are deploying an on-prem or something, right? But it's always good to have the TLS. Yeah, I will take care of these two topic later once we move to the custom policy part. I will answer that questions that time. So let's Nalini proceed with her demo, because I'm going to cover this custom policy part. So let me explain. Automated policy is something, once you figure out that these are the policies we would like to apply for this or in our organization, all for all the APIs, right? So that's mean that is the automated policy. Once you import, you create the API in your API manager, then those policies are by default it's applicable to those. It has only the IP range. You can give the IP or IP range. So for the countryside, that those very difficult. Multiple lot of ranges will be there. You need to define definitely for this policy. You need to define the IP or IP range. You cannot select any kind of region or something. Okay, based on that, this is not possible here. You may develop something custom or some kind of library. You need to attach with some your custom policy, and you can achieve that. But whatever available in any point platform, this IP blacklist or whitelist, by using those two policy, you cannot achieve that thing, that functionality. You need to write everything, all the either IP address, single IP address, or range of IP address. You need to define all the things there. custom thing, yeah, custom policy we need to write, yeah. This policy support only IP or IP ranges. Thanks, sir. No, no issues, yeah. Yeah, runtime public. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, that's possible. You can do with any of the WAF tools, server provider. You can definitely integrate with that. Any LDAP provider, any WAF to server provider, any server you can integrate with that. It will work. It will work there. In API manager, whatever you apply, that is only that only will be work. But this is only for the schema validation, right? So so if you write, then your RAML will be validated by a schema. So whenever you are accessing this API, it will throw that your these are the mandatory field, your client ID, client secret. Okay, these are the parameters. These are the mandatory fields. You should apply it. This kind of things you will get in your API portal. You can see right side, right? Because you are defining this JavaScript. It will be displayed here, right? So this is one extra layer as a user, as a documentation. See RAML, why we write RAML is nothing but a document, right? It's a document, it's a structure. Actual programming done based on this structure in either your API manager and your implementation. So it's always suggested you write your API properly, your RAML properly, because based on this RAML structure, your API portal gets generated automatically, right? Correct. Yeah. So whenever we write the RAML, it is suggested you write your RAML as descriptive as possible. Give all the field, description, types, everything, so that your portal is generated very descriptive way. Okay, and your user, end user who are using, who are going to use your APIs, okay, they can have, that is self-explanatory. They can, by looking your portal, they can learn the things, and they can, without asking you any question, they can implement the further thing. In your API policy and this, there is, yeah, definitely there is no connection. This is basically to generate your structure, right? Even if you define here OAuth 2, but you can apply their basic authentication. It's not like that you have to apply OAuth 2 only. You can go to your API manager, you can apply basic. Even if you don't define the schema here, even if you don't define the schema here, you can apply OAuth 2 there. That is possible. But yeah, but if you define in RAML, and if you don't apply in your API manager, in your API portal it will show OAuth 2 kind of thing only. So that is the disadvantage. So as a developer, you should make both in sync. But yeah, both kind of things are possible. In policy we define the validator, actually validate link. So but you cannot get the token there in policy. What we can define, what is the validator link. So once we pass this token from here, this token will be validated against that URL. So after yes, yes, yeah, client has to make a call. Policy, yeah. Yes, so client has to make one call to your WAT server. From WAT server, you will get a token, and then that token you have to pass in each and every request while you are making the transaction with your API. You can, yeah. So Nalini, you need to, what he asking you to show the policy configuration. Yeah, he's going to show probably. Yeah, it's part of the demo. So he'll show you. See, it's basic. SLATR is nothing but for external application only, like how they're going to access it, right? Why we create the application? Can anyone answer why we create the app? What is the need of creating the app? Anyone can anyone? It's not the third party application because we create for third party application. For example, let's say I am selling my APIs. I am the railway. I'm giving one example. I am selling my APIs so that any of the agent, they can do the booking from without going to the railway reservation system. They can do the booking. They can integrate my APIs with their website. Okay, so I would like to sell my API to makemytrip.com and yatra.com. So there are two external applications who is going to use my APIs. So I will create two different API, different SLA for them based on their package. For example, make my trip is paying me $1,000 for 1,000 time accessing the API. Yatra.com is accessing my API. He's paying the $500. He want to access 400 time my API. right? So I can create the SLA for those two service provider, and I can give the access. I'll provide the client ID, client secret. They do the call to WAT server, authentication server. They get the token. After getting the token, they do the call to our API. Every time, then again they no need to go to the WAT server. They keep the token alive. The token is, there is some validity will be there for token, right? 10 second, 15 second, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2 hours. We can define the that validity of the token in the authentication server, and then till that token is alive, they no need to again make another call to the your authentication server. They can just pass the token and do the transaction in your API. They can call the API. That is one API call. That is a OAuth server API call, OAuth API call. Like Nalini shows, right? How to get the token. That call goes to OAuth server. Yeah. It's not necessary. We can host our own OAuth server in Mule. Inside Mule, we can create a Java-based OAuth server. We can deploy in AWS, okay, or we can utilize the GitHub. We can use the Facebook OAuth. We can use the Google OAuth. A lot of things are available. So anything. No, client can't choose. As a service provider, we will choose, okay, how, what kind of authentication we would like to provide to them, because the policy, what policy we will apply in our things, right? Even a client also can choose. If you are creating a specific version of API for a specific client, I can as a service provider, I can maintain a multiple version of my API. I can create one API version for yatra.com, another API version for makemytrip.com, because they asked us to customize. They want to use the same API, but they ask for slight customization. Okay, we can do it. But and if they ask, let's say yatra.com, no, we won't use your auth server. We don't believe on your security and all. I want to use my auth server. Fine, we can ask them, give your auth server URL. We will configure your auth server URL in my API, in our API manager for your API version. Let's authenticate with that. We can do that as well. Yeah. Correct. Correct. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that in the policy. So Nalini showed you the policy configuration, right? Nalini, can you show the? She will show the policy configuration. You can see there. Yeah, only video is visible now. Correct. No, 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 not not required. Yeah. So, like as I told you, like as a developer, it's not only we are creating API, right? We are creating API documentation as well. So before you apply the policy, your architect will design your API documentation, like what kind of API security you are going to apply. They will take the decision, right? So based on that, you should design your RAML. You can design you can apply your policies here in your API manager, but until unless if you don't define your the schema and everything in the RAML, your API portal will not show that information. For example, for this API, if I go to the exchange and see the API portal, it will always show me I need to apply the WAT 2. It will not tell me that I need to apply here basic authentication, because I have not mentioned that in my RAML, right? So as a developer, you should follow, based on your design document, you should write your API, your RAML, and same policy you apply here. That's how we do. RAML is the document. RAML is your API document. You design first, and then you implement it. Implement your do the implementation. This is your your manager where you can apply dynamically your policies, right? But because we are going with the design first approach, we always do the design first approach, right? So we design that design time only we define what kind of policy we are going to apply, what kind of policy is required to apply for our API, right? We design that time only. After designing, we do it. Even though if you don't design, you can do it, but not the best approach. Yeah, we can't say the interface. It's a document. It's a document, design document. We can see your API document, API design document. Right? It's a model. Is RAML nothing but your REST API modeling language, right? Okay, so or if you use the Swagger, that is the Open API specification. So you just design your document first, your RAML structure, your API structure first. You do your complete API design first, and then you implement that in your Mule code, or you apply the policies here. Yes, correct. We can apply. Yes, agreed. Correct, correct, correct. No, what is better? What two is always better. Yeah. Correct, 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 correct. No, but the thing is that if you use the client ID, this client enforcement, you need to every time you hit your API, you need to pass the client ID client secret. So risk are more. People can hack very easily because you are passing client ID client secret for every request. But when you are using the OAuth 2, you are pass for one request, and that also not for the API, your resource server. You are not passing anything to the resource server. You are passing to the OAuth server. OAuth server, you are getting the token, and you will just use that token. If your token is compromised, they can hack one or two or three requests, or some API requests they can hack. Okay, but once your API, your token is refreshed, that token is invalid, right? They cannot utilize that token. But your API client ID client secret is compromised. You will not come to know, like when it is, if you don't come to know, like when it is compromised, they will utilize for forever. Let's say 2-3 days or for week or month. We don't know if it is compromised or not, right? We generally don't do hourly or daily basis client ID client secret. We do some kind of thing as a practice quarterly or based on the customer requirement kind of thing, because this client ID client secret customer, if you have given to the, let's say, mobile user, mobile app user, or a somebody makemytrip.com or yatra.com, they will configure then their website, right, internally to invoke our API. If I change every month, every hour or 2 hour or every daily, they need to go, they need to know the configuration change in their website. So that is a very big headache. They cannot change everything every day in their mobile, right? These are something that will be hard coded, but a token is not hard coded. A client ID client secret will be hard coded in their configuration file, but a token is not hard coded. That will be generated based on these values. Hmm. 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 Yes, it will remain same. Yeah, you can utilize, but yes, no, token will not remain same. No, the thing is that why it's not same, because to get the token you make a request to the your WAT server, and that you don't do frequently. So you're compromising, probability is less. Okay, once until unless you send your client ID, client secret, probability is less. Also, there are certain mechanism are there in WAT2. WAT2 not only based on client ID, client secret. There are four different types of authentication mechanism are there in WAT2. It's based on that, like what kind of authentication mechanism you are going to use. There can be a user ID, password. There are a lot of things are there. Three, four things are there actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Correct, uh, guys. Actually, who are not speaking, could you please mute yourself? There are a lot of echoes are happening in the background. Yeah, correct, correct, agreed. Yeah, correct, correct. Okay. Uh, some echo is happening here. Some I'm not sure for whose side. If you're not speaking, could you please mute yourself? Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So I think it's always, yeah. Yes, it's always better to use the OAuth 2 because it's more secure, and different kind of mechanism are there actually. Almost four or five types of ways are there to authenticating the things. Okay, and the probability of compromising your client if you're using the client ID and secret basis authentication for the OAuth 2, because you are not doing the multiple call with the same client ID client secret, so your uh, what do you say, your probability of compromising also less. Okay, even you can use extra layer of security. You can use the password based authentication. So after client ID client secret, you will redirect to some portal to authenticate. There you can enter your ID password, and then you will get the token. So different ways are there to do it. Okay, so it's always a secure thing. If you want, I can completely arrange one more session in coming week or after that, only specific to the OAuth 2. Okay, where we will explain you how what to work. That session probably we can arrange. Okay, so let's now proceed for further with other demo, because we have very less time. Okay, and we have to wrap up this one. uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, one announcement, because all people are here. One announcement actually, we have a very good session on 12th of September. We have already set up one more meetup, that is on Sonar Cube, and one of the very good architect. I hope you have heard the name Sadiq Ali. He's the one of the the community helper as well, and he has a very good name in community, MuleSoft community. So he's going to provide the session on 12th on Sonar Cube for the Mule 4 code review. So if you have not registered for that session, please register for that. Yeah, Nalini, please continue. So when you are deploying this OAuth server and your application, okay, we are keeping both in the same environment, same organization, and we are configuring their our organization or the environment, client ID, client secret for both the environment. Nalini, can you show to him? So it will take from there automatically. Sandbox. Environment. API manager, same environment, same environment. API manager, same environment. Yes, correct. Yeah. So OAuth to provider module is maintained. Yeah. Please go ahead. I think we are running out of time. So let you can speak and the continue thing, like we'll continue this meetup. I'll set up again with the next probably next on 12th we have another meetup actually, the Sonar Q1, and after that leaving 1 week, next week I'll set up another meetup to continue with the as a security 2, API security 2, and then we can discuss rest of the thing probably. Is it okay with all of you? Yeah, because we are, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we'll do in that way. We'll set up the next security 2 meetup after this 12th meetup. Okay. So fine. I think Nalini probably we can cover this part also that time also, or if you want to cover for quickly you can cover because we have to cover this now, this one, right? QA also will question answer for this or yeah. Today, yeah, because there is no time now. 2 o'clock is almost 2:30. So custom policy will cover in the next meetup. Custom policy plus AI. Yeah. Uh, can we do one thing? Can we upload this code into the GitHub and share the URLs with all of you? Maybe or can you quickly maybe we can show also the flow. Just open the message flow. Message flow. Yeah. Yeah. Just quickly. Nothing. There is one flow or there single flow. Yeah. Yeah. And No, no. The yeah, token generation is done by your WAT2 provider module, that is the MuleSoft module. So that URL is not exposed here. That when you include this WAT2 provider module, okay, so internally it's give you the URL as token slash token kind of thing, okay, slash access token. So by hitting that URL you can get the token. So that you no need to implement here because we are using this WAT2 provider module. So that module internally implements that. Here to you need to just implement the validated token flow. That's it. And once you deploy this flow, those predefined URL you need to access and you need to get the token. That's it. Yes, yes, agree. No, not always the same scenario. Maybe some a lot of people they use the same MuleSoft provided OAuth server as well. Okay, so it's not that we always go, but certain scenario, yeah, when client already has some their infrastructure, they have their specific WAF to provider installed in their environment, AWS or somewhere, then definitely we can configure that. Right? So it's not a problem. So we can. Uh, okay, that's okay, but we should always validate the token through the WAF server only. That's how WAF things should work. Otherwise, if your token is compromised or something happened, you will not able to track it to store locally your token, right? So you will not able to okay, JWT token. Okay, 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 okay. Huh. Okay. Okay. So, guys, I will because due to the short time, I'm not able to cover this custom policy, but I will try to cover on 12. I will check with Sadiq content like how much he time he need on 12 for to explain this Sonar Cube. Okay, and the timing will be same. 2 hour session will be there. So if he able to finish his session by 1 hour 30 minutes or 1 hour kind of thing, then I'll continue this what to this custom policy session yeah next week also. So please keep an eye on the on our group page, or also you register for that Sonar Cube session. Okay, I may publish this also, this agenda also there. I'll check with him today, and if it is he can finish the things within 1 hour or 1 hour 10 minutes kind of thing, then I'll cover this custom policy and further security related things. Okay, yeah. Is recorded actually. Unfortunately, when I was speaking, somehow it not got recorded. But yeah, almost 70-80% is recorded. So we will share. Yeah, whatever recorded, we'll share. Yeah. Also, I'll try to record my part as well offline, and we'll see. Okay. Uh, yeah. So yeah, you're asking something. Definitely, we'll upload in YouTube. Okay, we'll upload in YouTube, and we'll share the link in the our web page portal or a meetup group portal. Okay, you can get it from there, guys. Just to I declare that beginning of the session, then we'll have some kind of QA session like trivia, and the winner will get the certification voucher from the MuleSoft. So I'll ask 3 questions quickly. Okay, whoever can answer, please answer, and I will register your name in the MuleSoft. I'll send your name to the MuleSoft so that you can get a voucher, certification voucher after training, right? So first question. Okay, uh, can you tell me at least four name of four category of policy available in MuleSoft, any one platform? At least four. Okay, who is speaking? Who? No, those are the policy name. I asked for the category. Only category I asked. Who raised the first hand? No, 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 no. Those are the policy name. Only category name. I asked the category name. One by one, please. Yeah, that is correct. What is your good name? Sachin. Transform compliance security. Okay, just okay. Wait. This question is over. Please don't post anything now. Yeah. So you posted. Kumar posted IP wire testing. No, this is not the category. Santosh posted transform compliance security. Only 3 you posted, not 4. Sudarshan 2. And yeah, Aditya posted 4 first. If you see, Aditya posted 4. Aditya Singh. What is your good name? DP. DP, right? Okay, fine. We'll have another competition between both of you, DP and Aditya. Okay, chalo. I'll consider you also, Pradeep. Let's 3 out of 3. Please don't speak first. Please only raise your hand, and whoever, yeah, only raise your hand, and whoever raise hand will get a chance. Like first raise hand will get a chance. Okay. Question is, what is that? Yeah, yeah. Please stop your raising hand. Please, everyone, please stop your raising hand. Everyone, please stop. Yeah, roll back your raising hand, please. Okay, okay, fine. You put in chat. There will be some kind of things, right? Okay, fine. But how you're going to put in chat? I'm asking you some kind of descriptive question now. Tell me. First, listen the question, and then you can probably raise the hand, put the yes kind of thing in chat box. Whoever raise yes, I'll ask for question to answer. He can answer first. Okay. So next question is. Some background noise is there actually. Can you please mute yourself? Yeah. Yeah, probably it's better to raise the hand, or you can put at least raise hand, this kind of smiley in your chat box so that we can know smiley is there, right? Something, see, this one. You can put like this, right? Thumbs up. So can I know that you raise the thumbs up first? Okay, guys, please listen the question. Next question is, what is the difference between rate limiting and spike control? Wait. Who raised the hand? Bipul. Lokesh, please tell me what is the difference between the rate limiting and spike control? Correct. That is the correct answer, Lokesh. So you can send me your email ID through Meetup group. Okay, Meetup group contact organizer. You can post it here also, not a problem. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Can you tell me? Yeah, guys, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, please. Please, you can roll back your hand now. Yeah, next question is coming. Please raise your hand again. Yeah, please. What is the full name? TL is coming here. Lokesh, please draw. Hello, Lokesh. Yeah, fine. Okay, fine. Lower. Okay, fine. Okay, next. There is an option where you join, right? The same bar. You will be showing. There is some kind of option that like turn on your video, mute. There, yeah. Beside the chat, there is a button is that raise hand, right? Okay. Yeah, yeah. In the chat box also you can type. Fine. At least type your raise the hand. Yeah, yeah. Fine. Next question. Can you give me some policy name? Some means at least one or two. One policy name in troubleshooting category. Mura, who raised the hand first? Who raised the hand first? Mohammad Sakif. Yes, Sakif. Great. You can send your email ID, okay, to this chat, or you can from the contact things. I will ask one more question. Okay, can you tell me at least two, at least something? I'm not able to hear. Someone, are you speaking something? Anyone? Guys, please mute yourself. It's a lot of noise are coming back end. And also hands down, please. Yeah. Question is, can you please tell me about two policy name from transformation category? Anyone? Who raised the hand? Sachin Kumar. Okay, great. Please give your email ID. Fine. You will get a chance in next session. Okay, next session I will get a chance. Next session we have the custom policy. I am taking this time. First, who spoke? This one. Who spoke? Yeah. No, the first who spoke actually. Vipul, I think last time you got the voucher. Fine, we'll consider you next time. Next meetup, 12th meetup. Answer is correct. Mohammad Saqib already got right one voucher. Mohammad Saqib already got one voucher. Okay, another question. This question is cancelled. Please, guys, please be careful. Okay, fine. Hands down, please. Hands down. This is the last question. Okay, hands down. Hands down. Soumya. I think two persons, Soumya and one. Yeah, Santan. Both raise the hand. Please, hand down. Santan. Yeah. Next question. Tell me in OAuth 2 policy configuration, what URL we need to configure there? Raise hand. Vishnu Prakash. Vishnu, now you are cancelled. Next, who is the next person? Prasad, please. Yeah, please tell me, Prasad. But when we configure the WAF 2, we give all the URLs there or only one URL? Okay, fine. Fine, you can, okay, we are considering you. Okay, please give your email ID and we'll close this session. And others who are not got the coupon and all, next time please join, and definitely you will get the coupon if you listen carefully. Okay, so we have the next 12 we have the another session. Okay, please register. Yeah, thanks. Fine, thank you. I got it. Yeah, thank you. Thanks everyone for joining and your time on weekend, and we'll see you on 12. Yeah, thanks. Okay, bye.